This video is going to be about the Russell Westbrook problem, or the Russell Westbrook issue. Russell Westbrook right now is in is in a space as a player in which a lot of teams at times find themselves in. They're not bad, but they're not terrible, but they're not close to being great, definitely, as in championship, and they're not good and improving to that, right? So they're kind of stuck in the middle. They're like a 35 winish team, depending on the year. Maybe their players have, an upside year, or maybe some guys get hurt. They can make the postseason. Maybe get smoked in the first round in 5 games, or mainly a sweep. Of course, now make the play-in or whatever. But they're not going anywhere. Meaning they're not every single year. That's pretty much what they're gonna do. 35-ish, maybe 40 wins, maybe make the postseason, get your ass swept. Right? So you're stuck in the middle. You don't have no chance to improve. You're not bad enough in which you can get a Zion or, a Steph, KD, a LeBron, a Luka, a Trey. You're not bad enough where you can get any of these top guys. But you're nowhere near close good enough to say that your roster is improving to get the championship status. So essentially, you are in the worst spot in the sport. You're going nowhere. You're constantly doing the same thing over and over again. That is Russell Westbrook right now, but as a player. Meaning this, is Russell Westbrook as bad as a lot of people try to make him out to be? No, he's not. He's not a bad player. He's not a terrible player. That is a lie. That is false. You can't average, 18.5, 7, 44% shooting from the field. No, he was terrible from 3, about 30%, 67% from the free throw line. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he was good per se, or good for the standard in which we have set for him. Now, for a bench player, if he was going off the bench, putting up those numbers, like, he's the best bench nigga in the league. Like, given the 6 man a year right now, like, no doubt about it. But for his stature, it's just not good or great for what we're used to seeing from him. There's a difference between that and trying to act like the dude is terrible. Oh my God, he has no worth. He's the sole reason why the Lakers failed. No, not true at all. Not true at all. That is bullshit. Plenty of reasons why the Lakers failed. Both was a semi-reason. Also, poor roster construction. Guys being in it for selfish reasons or non-necessarily the best team options. That doesn't include Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook did indeed take a seat back. LeBron James, there were some moments there in those games in which you're down 15. There's 4 seconds to go on the shot clock. In the whole game, you're down 20. Yet you're still trying to get a sneak layup. Like, let's be for real. A lot of the stat padding or selfish play could actually be more applied towards LeBron than Westbrook, if we're just being. And of course, the lack of defense on the whole roster, just the inconsistency in play. There's a lot of things that went wrong for the Lakers. Of course, Anthony Davis. How many games did Davis play? Like 35 or some shit like that. Maybe 40 at like the max. But anyways, Russell Westbrook is not a bad player. He's actually still, for a normal NBA player, he's actually really fucking good. But for a player that we think of as one of the top at 1.5 players in the league, people were having him. It looks bad compared to that. But the problem is this: Russell Westbrook game does not fit anywhere right now. You understand? Like, what championship team is going to bring Russ in and going to give him the role that Russ wants? Russ does not want to go off the bench. Let's be for real. So don't say, oh man, you mean Russ is not coming off the bench. The top teams is gonna want him to come off the bench. He can't go to Golden State. He's gonna let's say he gets traded to Indiana and they decide to buy him out. Right? He becomes a free agent, right? Or whatever. He can sign with any team. Let's say hypothetically the Warriors had enough, or any team had enough money to give him, let's say, $20 million contract or some shit like that. Is Russ gonna accept the fact that he's gonna be a bench player? He's not gonna start with the Warriors at all. Will he start on Milwaukee? No. Will he start on the Celtics? No. The Clippers? No. The Lakers? Obviously, hell, they don't want him right now, so no. Assuming, let's just say, the Lakers come back to form next season. The Phoenix Suns? No. The Dallas Mavericks? No. The Miami Heat? No. The Brooklyn Nets? No. Philadelphia? No. So where can he go? Okay, so let's just move away from, the top teams, right? Let's say, well, what are you talking about? You mean to tell me, why wouldn't Indiana want him? Well, because Indiana is looking to rebuild around Tyrese Halliburton. They're trying to rebuild through the draft. Why would you bring in Russell Westbrook where he's still good enough to a point if you put him on a team and you make him the guy again, you're probably going to win 40-so games. You're probably going to be in the play-in. You probably will win the play-in. That's what I mean when I say Russell Westbrook is not bad. He can still, if you put him as a sole person on the team, he can still get you to the postseason. The problem is, who cares? just to get smoked in the first round again? Who gives a shit? That's the issue. So why would I bring Russell Westbrook onto my young team? Number one, when I'm trying to develop my young talent, he's going to take away from that. Why? Because he needs the ball in his hand. That's the issue now, why he doesn't look as good as he used to, because he can't have the ball done. So now I'm going to stunt the growth of my young guys to bring in an aging 33, 34-year-old. How much would he be? How old would he be at the end of next year? About 34-ish? To what? For us to what? Maybe win 40 games and then get swept in the first round? Again, for what? And then miss out on the Victor dude? Because it seems like a lot of these teams are trying to tank for the Victor guy. So most of these young teams either A, are trying to develop the young talent they already have, and Russell Westbrook is going to stunt their growth, or B, they're trying to goddamn tank for this Victor dude, or for a top draft pick. Russell Westbrook doesn't help any one of those two cases. He also can't go to a championship contending team because he doesn't fit any of their styles of play or their needs or wants. Because he's not like he's going to be willing to come off the bench and be a part of just a cog in a wheel. It doesn't seem like his ego doesn't seem like it could take that. If any of these reports are true, the dude, he was talking, when people were talking about how he was lack of defense and, his rotation on defense and his, terrible play last year, apparently in the film room in the Lakers team meetings, he was having something to say about that. So where can he go? I want to tank. I want to develop my young guys. I'm not bringing Russell Westbrook on, period. I want to try to win a championship. Russell Westbrook has never proven that he can be a part of a championship winning team. Why the hell would I bring him? And then plus he comes with certain attitude issues or ego issues. And not only that, how is he going to disrupt the rhythm and the flow of my team they already have? We already have everything kind of set in place. Most of the top team pretty much already have their orders set in place. I can't bring him in and risk him disrupting that, especially for a guy who has never shown that he has really any type of winning IQ or, does the winning plays out there on the defensive end or the offensive end. We know for a fact the guy, if it's the fourth quarter, he's turning it over. He averaged 4 turnovers a game this year. So what really value does he have for the top teams? Again, Russell Westbrook is not bad. He's not. He just doesn't fit the mold for the league right now. He's a terrible three-point shooter. He's a terrible free throw shooter. He's a bad decision maker. And he believes he's better than he is. Those are all three, or however many I just said, terrible combinations. You can't have all those. And he's aging like, what is he? He's 33. And he has low basketball IQ. And he managed to piss off the one person, the one thing you cannot piss off, which was LeBron James, quote-unquote chances of winning in the LeBron James media. You can't do that. But if these guys are smart, they actually want to be dragging Russ like how they're dragging him. Why? Because they will realize that it actually lowers his value around the league when you're constantly dragging him, talking about how terrible he is, how he's the reason why the Lakers didn't win, how LeBron James doesn't have a chance of winning. You're actually ruining your trade value. In fact, if you were smart, you would actually avoid doing that. But anyways, that's kind of that's pretty much all I had to say. I think Russell Westbrook right now is in a weird place. Unless he's mentally able to change his outlook on the game and his approach, he's pretty much gonna be stuck like this, where no one really wants him. Of course, I think that he's gonna find a team because the dude can still play. He can still play. Now, is it winning play? In terms of on a high level, probably not. In fact, we can definitely say hell no. But you can still go out there and ball. Maybe if you're a certain team, you bring him in there for a year or so. I don't know. I feel like Russell Westbrook, if he was just maybe like a year from now, I think Russell Westbrook will be a better player for the top teams. I think he needs his ego probably chipped down a little bit more, where he's actually willing to come to the bench, because he could be a deadly player on a lot of these teams. You imagine him in Miami with Pat Riley and that culture and attitude? What? He could be amazing. But is he ready for that? That's the question. Anyway, that's a video for today.